Here is the worst way I have ever seen someone try to dampen or mute their drum. Ready? You see what's going on in there? That's not Swiss cheese or mold. So a friend of mine gave me this and said, he's not a drummer, but he said, hey, a student of mine was getting rid of this drum set. Here you go for free. Can you fix it up? I was having such a difficult time tuning it, which is partly because there's only 5 lugs, which is if you're looking for a new drum set, avoid a drum set that has 5 lugs, because the whole point is when you tighten the head onto the drum is to get even tension. So you want the lugs to be across from each other, which requires an even number. If you have 5, no lug is actually across from the other. You create a star, right? Where's its counterpart? It's not there. They're over here. So it doesn't tune well. And then I looked inside, besides the fact that it's missing a bottom head, and someone had tried to mute this drum by spraying, I think, great stuff, which is great stuff if you're insulating a house, trying to keep mice from coming in through a hole. It foams up and then it hardens. It's terrible, absolutely the worst thing I've ever seen if you're trying to mute a drum. It will ruin it instantly. 1, it doesn't mute it very well. It just sounds terrible. But 2, you've ruined it forever. If I want to now fix this drum, I would have to take off all the hardware, scrape that out, sand it down, and then put the hardware back on. But there's no way I'm doing that for a little terrible drum like this. So I thought I would share with you good ways to mute a drum so you don't do something like that and completely ruin your drum set forever. The most common is to put like a little gel drum mute on something. So the 2 that I've got here today are drum dots, which you'll see. They're little rubbery things and you just set them on the head, and if you want them to be more mute, you put more of them on. Moon gel is the more famous version of those. They look like little blue squares. Kind of like flubber. So you put those on the drum and it mutes it a little bit more. Those are the 2 common ones. Moon gel. I'll show you how that makes it sound. So if it rings, then I put moon gel on. It mutes it more. Some of the guys in the classical world that I play with use a credit card, or for me here, a Costco card. And you just set that on your head as well. A little bit of mute. Now take it off. I don't know if you can hear the difference there, but there is a difference. The negative side of a credit card is when you play it loudly, it'll actually start to jump off the head and make a little noise, plus it affects how it mutes, because it's going to ring when it's up but then mute it when it's down. So gels make the most sense, and then some type of cloth material or tape are your other 2 options. So for my classical snare drum here, I just have like a black hanky that I put on here, and then I use some clips, which just fell to the ground. I use some clips on the side, and that mutes it as well. So ring, mute, a little bit of mute it. If you want more, you just unfold more of the hanky, and it mutes it more. The final way is just tape. So using gaff tape, I use this on my floor tom. And if you can put a little ridge in it like this to absorb some of the vibrations, or you can I've put like toilet paper or Kleenex under this one. Anything to mute the head is great. Actually, there's one other which I learned from Benny Greb, which is he's a monster drummer if you want to check him out. And he takes cotton balls and he spreads them out, like 4 or 5 of them, and he puts them in the bottom of his floor tom to dampen the bottom resonating head. And his floor tom sounds the best ever. So that's another cool little trick, but the absolute worst thing you'd ever want to do is put some great stuff in it and completely ruin your drum forever. I cannot think of unless maybe you put like a dead rodent in your drum, that might be slightly worse. It might actually work better though, because you can just remove it when you want it. It'll smell worse, but this is just terrible. So don't make that mistake.